Do you find that when you try to record metal songs, your guitars sound muddy and unclear? You just can't seem to get all those awesome notes to stick out, and your song starts to get kind of washed away by this blur of sound coming from your guitars. Well, there's actually a very simple and easy solution to this, and you're gonna hate yourself for not noticing it before. And it doesn't cost you any extra money. All you gotta do is make some adjustments in the plugins that you already use. Does that sound enticing enough for you? Come on, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start this off with a question. What's the difference between this and this? The gain on the second time around was extremely high compared to the first time. That is going to lead to a very muddy, washed out sound. I know. You want the highest gain amps and guitar sounds that you can, which is fine if you're live and that's the thing you want to go for. But when it comes to recording and you want something articulate, clear, and punchy, adding tons and tons of gain just isn't going to get you the result that you want. All that extra gain is going to compress your signal and make it super squishy with virtually no dynamics. And the dynamics are exactly what you're looking for to get that clear and punchy articulate sound. All that gain sounds like a great idea, but it just doesn't get you to the great mix sound that you're looking for. So if I take the Archetype Gojira X with one of my favorite presets of the entire thing, Chunk from Richard Henshaw, under the artist section of the presets, you'll notice the gain is very low. It's like maybe a quarter of the way turned up, and that gets you that clear, punchy sound. And you'll notice there's not a whole lot of gain. If I cranked the gain up, let's say just like at 100%, you hear how much more compressed and squishy that is? And honestly, there's a bit more of a response with the low end. It's just not as clear, it's not tight and punchy. It's gonna muddy up the sound and it's gonna make everything sound washed out. If that's a sound you want to go for and that's something you're looking for and you're happy with it, then cool. But if you're here to look for like an articulate, punchy, clear sound, this is the wrong method to do so. Let's take that gain and crank it down. So let's just play something like voila. You can already tell the difference. There's a much bigger response in the mids and the highs. It's a lot more of a dynamic sound, and that's what you need. If I crank the gain all the way up and I wanted to try to get a bunch of the notes in a chord, you can do it and get those, what do you call them, transients, but it's just not as clear. If I turn it down, it's way better. And especially if you're using a plugin like this and you're turning the gain really high up, it's gonna make the mixing process of whatever song you're working on that much harder on you. Your guitars are gonna fight with the bass because of the bass response. It's not gonna have as much of the mid push that you need with the guitar because it is a mid frequency, mid heavy instrument. That's where it's supposed to fit in a mix, similar to kind of vocals, and it's just not going to work out the way that you would want it to. Now again, this is entirely a preference thing, and I'm speaking from a very like modern metal, progressive metal, chunky, genty type of perspective. But when I hear a guitar tone and I'm listening to a song and it sounds like this, it doesn't appeal to me, and it sounds very just flubby, and it just doesn't sound good to me. And again, that's my personal opinion, and you can like that sound all you want. But if we're trying to get a clear and punchy, articulate sound in a mixing scenario like we're discussing in this video, that high amount of gain just does not work. Just listen to this main riff from the song that I was playing earlier. Now with the gain lowered, it's just, it works. It sounds a lot better, and I mean, I know I've said it 10 times already. It works in a mix 1,000 times better. It makes your job for mixing your song that much easier. Now, yes, playing with less gain is going to essentially force you to play your riffs a lot cleaner, and maybe if you don't have the riffs practiced enough or you're not that seasoned of a player, it's going to make recording things that sound good to your ears that much more difficult. But in the end, that's actually going to benefit you because it's going to teach you to play cleaner. It's going to make you more articulate, and it's going to clean up the slop and make you that much more of a tight player. I know a lot of people early on, as I did it myself, tend to just crank the gain up as much as you can because it makes you sound a lot better and it's very, very forgiving. But it's got a lot of benefits to turn the gain down. It just fixes mixes. It makes the guitar sound that much more punchy and clear, and it actually will help to improve your guitar skills and make you a cleaner player. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it is what it is. My rule of thumb when it comes to, like, say, dialing your own tone and you're not using a preset or you're tweaking a preset to fall more in line with what you're trying to get with your own sound, get the sound that you want with whatever gain level you're thinking about, and turn down the gain like 25% from where you have it. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as I've shown in this video, but the less gain that you add, the more that you turn that gain knob down, the more you're going to allow your guitar to stick out and be heard in a clear, punchy way. I also kind of apply this logic of like turning things down to when I'm listening to music in earbuds or headphones. I get it to a level where it sounds good to me and then turn it down a notch or two just to kind of preserve my hearing, and I think it's a pretty good practice to do with a lot of things. Guitar gain, listening to music on headphones and earbuds, even music in your car. Get it to a level that you want it to be at and crank it down a little bit. That can even play into the mixing process, because a good rule of thumb when you're trying to balance your instruments in the mix that you're using is to listen to it quiet. People tend to listen to things very loud because it makes music sound better. There's a lot of science behind that. When we listen to things loud, there are more overtones and saturations of X, Y, and Z that make the sound more rich to us. That's why people tend to increase the volume on things that they're listening to. But if you listen to them quiet, it's going to give you a more clear, transparent picture of the sound that is being played to you. Translate that logic to a guitar tone. If you turn things down, essentially making the gain quieter, it's going to make things more transparent and clear, thus giving you a cleaner, tighter, and punchier guitar tone in your mix. Go ahead and go try this out and let me know what the results are that you get in your own personal mixes and guitar playing. I'm curious to hear what your guys' experience is using this trick. I can kind of guess the results, but it's easier to hear from you guys, so let me know down in the comments. Before you go, make sure you watch some of the videos on your screen, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and by the way, the song that you're hearing in this is called Potatoes. I made a recent video with this song featured in it. It's also on streaming platforms and everything now, link in description.